Welcome to the trailer for The Magic of David Corsaro. Now, as I see it, all trailers for Magic DVDs nowadays have to have three things in them. Your card, the King of Hearts.
Get the f out of here,
Is that your card?
Wow. You're hot.
But not this DVD. The trailer for this DVD is going to be a little different. I'm going to let the material speak for itself. Check it out.
Now remember the days when a family would stay at the lake. Miss Judy had a beauty that no man could ever mistake. Well, I made up my mind, I don't care what I gotta go through. I said I'm on.
You know, every time I see David perform, I always think the same thing. That is a nice suit he's wearing.
Brings us into our next point, which is television. You just finished doing a segment for the Ellen DeGeneres talk show,
what a
which
doll she is.
Killed.
Thank you.
I mean, you did a great job, and I was actually quite proud because I turned it on and I'm like, hey, there's and there's your little 4F pin right there. I'm like, look at him go.
If I'm wearing a jacket, I have a 4F pin. You ever
Which
see
is
me without
awesome.
a jacket and with a 4F pin? That means somebody stole it.
Which is awesome.
It's the only way.
Now, some of the people watching this could have an opportunity to do a spot on television, whether it be something national or just a local TV show or something. Can you talk a second about picking the type of material you think plays well on television?
Sure. First, I'll tell you, the segment producer is your best friend. Nobody ever speaks to these people, but they are your best friend. That's the person that's actually going to produce the segment. You talk to them. Say, you know, hey, this is what the trick is. This is what I'm going to do. Do you think it's a good idea? Will the host like it? This person spends their whole life watching guests come in and guests go out and knows what plays and what doesn't. And so many people don't use them. They think, oh, that's the handler, and they just bring me in. I do what I do. No, listen to them. Those people really make a difference. Second,
What are their concerns? What are their concerns that it's good for you to address right off the bat?
they want to know how difficult the shots are going to be.
Okay.
If you're happy with the height of a table, do you want to do it sitting or standing? Is this a better area? Can there be people behind you? Can we do it with the open window on the studio set? They want that whole image. Will their people look stupid? Will you make them look like a horse's butt? They'll pick through. The segment producer should be coming to you to discuss what you do. If you're doing, a local cable channel, it's a pretty good chance that the hosts and the hostess are their own segment producers. And they're going to go, hi, it's great to meet you. I hope you have some fun. And we're going to shoot over here. Is that okay? And you can begin to say, well, is there a floor director? Somebody who, controls all the cameras? Because the camera guys don't control the cameras.
Right.
Even the smallest one, there's a floor director who's putting it together. And find out who is in the control room, because that person is your best friend too. Because they can look at multiple shots and decide which one is the most forgiving to you, and start explaining to them early. Once a trick starts, it's cool to zoom in and zoom out, but cutting from one camera to another, not the smartest thing. Once I begin an effect, pull in tighter or pull back to give it better. But once the trick finishes, that's when you should have a camera centered right on your host and hostess for those reactions. And if you say it like you think it would be exciting and fun, they'll go, yeah, that makes sense. And then you're less likely to be right at that critical moment. You think you're covered because there's a red light on this camera over here, and you don't even think this camera is in play. And as soon as you do it, now they're watching the whole effect happening from the wrong angle, and they cut when you're showing the card up to your face. And explain to them, magic's a hard thing to shoot. So I always ask if I can get a rehearsal. And if I can't get a rehearsal, I try to make my magic bulletproof for television. You know, I had the opportunity over 4 days to go through probably 18, maybe 20 effects with the executive producer and the segment producer and my own personal assistant from the show to what I wanted to do. And I showed them all these different things and said, these are all the effects I can do. And this is the order and the ones that I prefer. But tell me what you like. And it was funny because, you know, the opening effect pairs, which is, in fact, you know, Thomas Medina's cardiologist deck, just a couple of minor changes, I hadn't put it as my top. I put it in as like number 11. But every person on their television show went, oh, the pairs one's got to be in because that's a skill beyond belief. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. If that's what they perceive. My dad said PR, number 1, and he didn't mean public relations. He meant perception is reality. If they perceive it, that's the reality. True, and I believe it to this day. Jerry Anders, one of my great mentors, you know, I talked to my lecturer about how he put his fingers through his glasses, and the Omnideck was a creation meant, you know, was just a demonstration of, he had this dream seminar of standing behind a podium saying, right now you believe I'm behind a podium standing, and he pulled it aside and he was kneeling on a stool. On top of it, and he goes, says, and now that you perceive I'm kneeling on a stool, it's not really true. And he pulled the stool out, and it was fake knees sitting on the top, and he was standing behind it. And it was wonderful to see how perception becomes your reality. So when I was putting it together, I went, well, if they perceive that to be skill, I'm cool with that. And I said, well, then ideally, I'd love to do pairs, followed up having the signed card into a sealed deck or into a glass block. And from there, you know, I'll move on into other things. And they were like, oh, well, what about the trick with your daughter? And I said, trick with the daughter. It was in a segment that I did in Greece, where I held up a picture of my daughter, and I've done it all over the world just as a way to have my daughter on TV, and because I love Hannah, and they were like, oh, that's just amazing. So I produced multiple pictures with different cards, and I put one in for when we did the rehearsal, and the executive director, Andy, came out and sat down and played the part of Ellen, and I did the trick on him. He goes, oh, that's really cool. So then we will be able to zoom in on the, and it was like a 3 of spades. Well, to zoom in on the 3 of spades in your daughter's hand. I said, well, it won't be the 3 of spades. I mean, she won't pick the same card. What are the chances of that? And he was like, oh, but there'll be a card there.
Of course.
Of course
yes.
There will be. Yeah, take another, put another one in. And of course he says, so let's film it one more time. And of course, while he's talking, I'm already switching the photos and putting it away. And I said, oh, you want to do that segment again? Oh, yeah. So now I'm forcing a 7 of clubs. And it's like, he was, that's really good. I was like, thank you very much. But she's wearing the same outfit. It looks all the same in every one of the pictures. Photoshop's an amazing tool. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I think the first thing is befriend staff. So many people in television just look past all those people in black. And in theater, I don't think I've ever done a show where I don't recognize the crew. They are so important. On the ship, they were some of my best friends in the entire world. They were my family. I called them the Men in Black, and every night I would name every one of them by name and talk about them, and sometimes poke fun, you know, like, oh, Randy's going home. He hasn't been home in 14 months, but his wife's pregnant with their first baby. It was like fun stuff, you know.
Bringing them in. What I like about it is too is you're not saying to the segment producer, you're not saying, this is what I want. No. This is not how it has to be. You're not being a prima donna, so to speak.
Oh, you don't want to be that.
You're very, I know what your concerns are, and here's my ideas how to suggest it, but ultimately it's your call. What do you think we should do? And make them go, yeah, I like that. You're right. That's going to solve my problem.
You've already got a solution. Why am I thinking? Oh, yeah. I've got 6 other segments to produce, you know, with a boring guy who has no personality who's going to talk about his book. And that's the one she's worried about, or he's worried about making exciting. She just wants it to be the golden piece in the show because it's the one that goes, well, this is great. It's interactive. It'll be fun. I pick interactive. If I'm looking for material, the material I'll pick, I want interactive. I want something with the host or hostess. I want it to actually...
Them directly involved in it.
The last thing I want is to, you know, when they contacted me initially, it was because they'd seen YouTube and they'd seen Thread of Life, which is my variation of the Gypsy Thread. It's not mine. It's my grandpa's version of Gypsy Thread that my grandpa taught me, my father showed me, and I show Hannah now. And it's a great little piece, and it's got a good story that's true. And I interject about my grandfather. And yeah, I know that's a typical grandfather thing.
But in your case, it's true.
In my case, it's true. Some guy wrote on YouTube once, said, oh, I've had enough. And I wrote back and said, listen, you don't know me, and my grandfather did this. And if I ever meet you someplace, do not bring that up because there will be an issue. I understand there's plenty, you know, every Christmas we went to, so I never saw snow. And I'm thinking, but you don't celebrate Christmas, sir. It's like,
And you're from Jersey.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's not part of your religious background. So it's like, okay, I don't get it. So for me, having these real things. So when she watched it, they had their little cry, and then they said, go look for more, and they found Shape of My Heart. And they came to me and asked me if I'd do it, and I needed to be shorter. And they located for me from Warner Brothers, because they own the copyright and everything on it. They found a 2 minute and 36-second version of it and sent it to me. And that was an interesting version. And I shot the whole video of it. I was pretty excited. Wow, I'm going to do Shape on Ellen. That'll be cats. Sent it off and watched it all late in the evening. I was finished about 6 in the morning. Yeah, I would sleep weird hours. And about 10 o'clock, I'd gone to bed after watching it over and over again, convinced that I had to tell them I couldn't be on the show. And I phoned them the next day and said, I'm sorry, I've watched the video. And if that's what you need me to do, I can't do it, because that's cutting the legs off my child. I truly love the piece, and I understand that you're not going to invite me to be on the show, and I guess I have to be good with that. But thank you very much for inviting me, and I just can't do it. It's outside of my boundaries. I've been doing it since the early 90s, and it just was too hard. It's still a work in progress. I'm always changing little things in it. And there was this dead silence, and Delana, who was the girl I was talking to on the phone, she goes, wow, you're like a real person. I was like, what? She said, I'm sorry, we don't deal with real people very often. She said, you've got like integrity. And she's like, do you have other stuff? And that's when I got lots of stuff. Well, can you send us tape? I can send you tons of tape. I'll videotape it myself and shoot more, and then you can pick through it. That's when I started putting all this going.
Nice.
Oh my heavens, pick and choose. Here's, a la carte, and you put it together. But I leaned them in a direction because I wanted to do the signed card and sealed deck, and I wanted to do torn to pieces. And they added the little piece with Hannah, which I was thrilled to do, because my daughter on the TV is all the best, and they chose pairs. And it was like all great little pieces that would all lead into the next one. They even cut a segment out of it. If you're a very astute watcher, you'll see there is about 23 seconds missing in the pair routine. It's where after I do an inversion of, in Thomas Medina's suggestions, you reverse a card, cut the cards, reverse a card, cut the cards, reverse a card, cut the card, and then you find 3 matching pairs and have the spectator do it.
Okay.
I had Ellen do it, and they just didn't think it was that effective when they watched it themselves. I guess they were like, no, we don't need her doing it. We need her reacting. And I guess they took it out. So when you look, you'll see there's extra cards already on the table after I've gone through the first 6.
That's very
There's
funny.
more. And I watched it late that day. I'd missed it all day because I was flying to South Carolina to Magic at the Beach. And when I got there, I watched it in an airport. That's a funny story in its own. I talk a lot, don't I? I'm at this little airport all day. The first airport I get to is Chicago. And I walk into the little VIP lounge. I'm pretty lucky. I fly a lot. Yeah, I'm lucky. I go in, and the lady looks at me, takes my little card, and goes, Shawn Farquhar, oh my God, you're a brilliant magician. I'm like, thank you. And I'm thinking, where the heck has she seen me? So
She just saw you?
It was just on Ellen like minutes before. And I turn, and I see the Ellen screen, and it's got, my photo. The thing is up there, so it's running. I'm like, I've just ended. Crap, I just missed me. It was like that. And I say to the guy standing next to me, I said, did you see that? And he goes, yeah. I said, that was me. How was it? And he goes, well, you didn't suck. And he walked away, and I was like, I didn't suck. That's awesome.
That's your new publicity stuff right there.
Totally. I didn't suck. And so I sat down, people came over, they were talking, I'm like, wow, this is big. I never realized how big it was. I'm Canadian. So I flew to the next place. I can't even tell you what the name of the place was, and people were talking. Then I got to Raleigh, North Carolina, or something like that. I'm in the Raleigh airport, and I realized there's Wi-Fi. And I phoned a friend, Clinton W. Gray, a great magician. And Clinton, Shawn, I've uploaded to YouTube at this secret link so you can go look at it, because he's worried about copyright, doesn't want to get in trouble for me or anything. I'm like, I don't want to get any trouble either, but okay. So I find it using the free Wi-Fi, and I'm watching it, and I can hear my plane being called. And it's like, on last call, is there a passenger Farquhar? And I'm like, I've got like a minute left, and I'm watching it, and this guy comes over, tells me, excuse me, and I hit the pause. Yes? He says, are you Mr. Farquhar? And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm just watching the end of me on Ellen. And he goes, you're on Ellen? And leads right in. It's so good.
Hold the plane. We'll be right there.
He literally did. We watched the end of it. I packed up my bag. He walked me out to the plane. It's one of those puddle jumpers you go up.
Yeah.
As I'm walking up and onto the plane, the pilot's standing there like, asking for a reason. I said, I'm sorry, I was just on Ellen. And the guy behind goes, he really was on Ellen. And I turned and looked, and there's Murray Sawchuk sitting in the seat. And I said, yeah, but he's on VH1 every day. And I walked out, I said, I have to go to the back of the bus now, and walked to the back. And the pilot goes in and says, well, apparently we got a whole bunch of TV celebrities on the plane. It was just a blast.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny. But I guess that you're bringing up a lot of great points about if you are going to be on TV, taking certain things into consideration. It's not just about you. You can't walk in there with that mindset, at least. It's not just about you. It's about producing the best segment for the show. You want to be invited back? Because if you watch Shawn on Ellen, you killed it. She loved you. She absolutely loved you. Everybody was talking about it here at this convention. Everybody's referencing it.
Then don't read some of those blogs out there. One person said the coat was far too hip for my age. I went, oh my God, I'm old now.
Far too hip for your age.
Yeah, my coat was far too hip. I have this jacket that I sewed patches on with a Japanese flag in the back, a couple patches, because I just wanted to look different. And they actually picked out what I should wear. And I loved it because it made me stand out from everybody else who was in a suit. And I can't be the celebrity who comes in blue jeans with a T-shirt. And I didn't want to dress up like I was going to the Sunday prom. And I wanted to find something that would distinguish me.
Yeah, but I'm sure the person that made that comment is a FISM winner.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think so.
No. You're a FISM winner.
I think his name was like Mr. Panda
You're
or something. You know what? Yeah. Someday I'm actually going to get my head around that. And because, it's been my goal all my life. And I got it. And it's just, yeah.
But you know what? That's what I think is really great, because if you get to know Shawn, and I'm just starting to really get to know you, and it's been an honor.
Thanks, man. The feelings mutual.
Well, thank you. The FISM part is like, for anybody else, that's the biggest thing in the world. That's what their entire life would be consumed about, and yet that's like the third thing I'd want to talk to you about in a regular conversation.
Cool.
It's like your working material for a working magician. The corporate stuff, the trade show stuff, the strolling stuff is worker stuff. That's one. Then you got number two. You've been on TV. You know how to present yourself on television. You know how to sort of cross that fourth barrier right there. That's great. And then, by the way, you won FISM.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, you got a ton of great material out there. Again, a lot of stuff for the workers out there. Where can somebody go learn more about you and buy some of your stuff?
I don't know. I don't have any. Like
Yellowpages.com.
Yellow Pages. Well, there's a number of magic shops now that have my stuff. They're starting to bring it out, so you can Google it, or you can go visit me on the big World Wide Web at magicchampion.com. That's with one C shared between the Magic and Champion. I couldn't afford the two C's.
They're charged by the letter.
Or you can go to my personal ShawnFarquhar.com if you can figure out how to spell either or both of those.
Which is like a little scavenger hunt to get there. You got to learn to spell it, and then you got to go to it.
I didn't buy Magic Champion. Somebody, a trade show client, gave it to me after he said, I'm always trying to find your website. and a dear guy said, Shawn, at the IBM 101, he said, here's your envelope, and it had Magic Champion after I won the second IBM. Isn't that cool?
That's really cool. That's a great story.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
MagicChampion.com. We're going to link to that so you guys can go right to it. MagicChampion. MagicChampion.com. I'm David Corsaro. This is Shawn Farquhar. Now, go be awesome. Thanks, Shawn.
What a great title. Go be awesome.
Isn't that cool?